Rastafari, ladies and gentlemen, this is the reasoning segment on Dap Legend, your #1 reggae dancer show. My name is the 5-star General King Lagazee, and today, here man, because of what is happening in the Rastafari fraternity today, in this 21st century in Ghana, yeah man, we decided to invite people who are, well into deep about Rastafari and reason with them. Today on the show, I have Jah Blues, who happen to be a Rastafari historian, and also have Aswad Nkrabea Jah, who also happen to be a member of the Rastafari Council. And today on the show, we are going to digest this issue of Rastafari, that people, misinterpret Rastafari, people who wear locks claim they are Rasta people, people who don't wear locks, ball like me, come as Rasta, and all those kind of things. How would we differentiate between a real Rasta man and non-Rasta? We are here to digest the issue. Welcome, gentlemen.
Rastafari.
Yeah, man, respect. Rastafari, bless.
Yeah, man, blessed, man.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
let me start with Jah Blues first. Talking about Rastafari, can you give us a historical background of how this whole movement started in Jamaica?
Basically, right, Rasta movement started in the 30s. Started just after 1930, when His Majesty was crowned King of Kings and Lords of Lords in Ethiopia. And a lot of scholars in Jamaica, because, people was following the Ethiopian tradition at that time. But when His Majesty crowned, people began to research their Bible more. And they saw Revelation 5, which really showed us, it said, behold. And one of the elders says, behold, right, weep not, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed. People started to read this part in the Bible. They read like Isaiah 43rd, right? And we started to read like Psalms 87. His foundation is in the holy mountain. That's the fire love at the gates. And all of these things accumulated into a point where people began to examine His Majesty history more closely in relation to the Bible. And within that time, people come to start to accept the divinity of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. When the first Rasta started, they were not locks. The locks evolved after, but they had precepts, beard, and their ear. But after the first Rasta camp... Can
you touch down on that thing again?
Yes.
That when Rasta started...
When the Rasta started, there was no locks.
There was no locks?
No.
Bald-head people?
Bald-head people.
With long beard?
With beard and their hairstyle.
Same.
That was how it started. But in the 50s, the Mau Mau revolution in Kenya, the freedom fighters, pictures of these people came in the Jamaica paper showing the generals with dreadlocks and these things. And Rasta began to search their Bible again, because, anything we do, we search the Bible to justify all of our action. And then we read number 6, unto the day of a Nazarite, you must not let any razor come upon your face or your ear. So looking at that aspect also, and looking at the freedom fighter aspect of the Mau Mau, then the locks began to evolve within the movement. And these people were seen firstly as the fanatical wing of the Rastafari movement in Jamaica, and eventually the lock side become like part of the established, image of the Rastafari movement. But it is not solely that. There are many Rastas who are like yourself, who are not locks, and who don't wear the beard and the ear, but they are devout Rastafarians. And to be a Rasta, basically, one must accept the divinity of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. That's what makes you a Rasta. It's not your locks or your beard. It's the belief in His Majesty as the returned Messiah, the Christ of this dispensation.
Hold on, Jah Blues, and it look like you talk too much. You talk too long.
Enough things to say.
Yeah, man. Let me come to Aswad. You've been a member of the Rastafari Council in Ghana.
Yes, I am.
How do you Rastafari? As Jah Blues said, what is your take on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, Jah Blues is rightly correct still, But one thing we have to remember is that during the slavery, the ones that they took from Africa, mainly Ghana, they were a peculiar set of people. And even the slave masters and them couldn't deal with them, so they tried to sell most of the so-called ones who are more cooperating in the system, sell them to the United States. So the ones who were main troublemaker, the ones who put up resistance, those are the ones that they kept. Yeah, the rebellious ones. Those are the ones that they kept in Jamaica. Well, these are the ones who embrace Rastafari, right? Because they believe in a truth and rights. And just as Bridget said to you that when they started, there wasn't any dreadlocks. They had beard, right? Even so much so that there was a problem in one of the city markets with an individual who had beard. He wasn't a Rasta man. And as a result of that, they trimmed a whole lot of Rastas, right? And imprisoned about 57 of them.
Wow.
Because of the act of that one person who was wearing beard. And that at that time, the beard was the identification of a Rasta man. So it's very important when a man put on locks in Ghana or wherever in the world and present himself in a certain manner, it bring down repression and pressure on us as Rastas who live up.
Saying. We'll come to that aspect.
Yeah.
Jablu, why do Rastas base their argument all the time on the Bible, not the Kebra Negas?
That also, it's not only the Bible, the Kebra Negas, the Bible, the Kabbalah, lots of other books we read, you know, but it's like, it's a liberty, so we are always researching at all time. We don't just read we read anything concerning Africa. We are always researching our history and our culture, you know. So, but the Bible, because you must remember the Bible is our history. A lot of people think the Bible is the European history. No, the Europeans were civilized by the Bible. And all of the historical, you know, Moses, Egypt, all of these are us. Ethiopian African people is our history. But through the ages, we got defeated in Egypt. But I think if you look at your national culture, it shows, and you have certain rights and rights that you practice, which is not known to many people, but it's connected with the Israeli. For example, in West Africa here, most boy child born 8 days after birth is circumcised.
Yeah.
That shows that we are from the tribe of Judah, and it's from Abraham time. So we are Israelites. You see what I'm saying?
All right. I would like to ask about, you know, the difference between Rastas and non-Rasta. But before that, you know, people do say Rastafari is full of myth, simply because we base our argument all the time on the Bible, and the Bible is full of myth.
Some part of
it. Yeah, man, some part of it is full of myth. So Rastafari is also full of myth.
No, it can't be myth, because God is a man like I and I. That's the first thing. Christ, we know the man Christ lived in Palestine. The European, you know, paint him white, give him blonde hair and blue eyes. We reject that totally. We know that this man, ISIS, was a Christian, was an African man. Because Palestine, Jerusalem, in the old world, it is not East Africa. It's only after the Suez Canal was built, after the last war, they call those places the Middle East. But in our culture, that is not Eastern Africa. Our ancestors roamed those places freely, but through wars and every kind, you know, people get integrated into different things. It's like today in Sudan. We have Southern Sudan, which represent the ancient Nubian people, and Sudan, which is the Arab conquered.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Yes.
Now, let us know, what is the difference between people who wear locks, as in Rasta, and people who bald man like me and come as Rasta? You understand me? How would one know that this particular person is a Rasta man?
By his behavior, by your liberty, by the way you carry yourself with the dignity as a responsible person. There's a lot of people now who wear locks, even in Ghana here, but some of them are criminal and have criminal intent. You can tell these people because most of all, they don't belong to any organization. Because as a Rasta man in Ghana here and any part of the world, you must belong to an organization, whether it's the 12 Tribe of Israel, the Ethiopian World Federation, the Nyabingi, or the Baba. You must come from one of these schoolrooms. Because by that, we can even say, if you say that Virgin Ray, we can say, yes, we know him. He's a Rastafarian. If he's not from none of the schoolhouses, schoolrooms, then naturally he's not a Rasta. And he's not doing the things that Rasta should do to give Rastafarians the respect.
What exactly should one do for him to be recognized as in he being Rastafari virgin?
Well, you're doing the right thing. You know, you live up for Africa. You work as an individual, you know. You aspire to do good things, not only for your community, but for your country. Being a Rasta, especially here in Ghana and Africa, is a lot of responsibility. Most people kind of put it around the music thing, thinking, yes, it's just a music, but it's much deeper than the music. Of late, the younger Rastafarian tend to use the music to project the message. Whereas people like myself, we are orators, we talk it. The young Rastafarians listen and they put it to the rhythm and chant it. That is good because it travels far and wide. But on another aspect, people don't really know the doctrine. Like, for example, when people hear Bob Marley sing war until the philosophy will hold one man, a lot of people think that was Bob Marley words. That is not Bob Marley words. That is the words of Haile Selassie the first. You know? So Rastaism, like I say, if you see someone with locks behaving on the road in a very undignified manner, then you know this person could not be a Rasta because they're not standing to uphold the dignity. Because being Rasta, you have to be dignified, you have to be truthful, you have to carry yourself in a certain manner to demand that certain respect. But if you just carry yourself like a tramp and your locks all over the place, and no, that is not Rasta, that is a tramp. Because you have a lot of tramps all over the world who are unkept. They're left in corners, their ear grow as African people. And people say, oh, might say there's a Rasta, but he's not. Yes. He's a tramp.
But don't you think all these people are disgracing the image of Rastafari? And as elder Rastaman men, man among us.
Yes.
What are you guys doing to you know, curtail that kind of problem?
What we are doing right now is what we've always done. Do the right thing. Like, you know, we have things like, we have projects like schools, we have different farming projects that we are involved in, and we try to educate our members and our brethren and sisters in living the right way and living in a respectful way. You know, and like I said, if you see a man who have locks is not the symbol of Rasta. It has become that way now. But it is not, because like I said, if it is, then it doesn't count for people like yourself, who's a genuine Rasta man, but because you do have the locks and so. But normally, we carry some kind of paraphernalia. Either we have the badge or something, you know, to identify that a man say, yeah, that man there, him look like a conscious.
All right, hold on. You don't know, say, I am reasoning with the brethren them in the house about Rastafari and the fact that people must really identify, you know, when you say this man, know that this man, he's a, don't conflict. Don't say, don't classify every man as Rastaman, any man who looks as Rastaman.